I've guided meditation today. My name is Stephanie Wagner, and I'm a trainer and program specialist with Healthy Minds Innovations. And I'm so grateful that you decided to take a few moments out of your day or your evening, depending upon where you're located, to practice with me today. As we're getting started, would love to just hear from you where you're practicing, where you're from, so that I can get to know you a little bit better. You can just share that in the chat box. And if you're new to us, we are Healthy Minds Innovations. We're a nonprofit that is affiliated with a research institution at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, the Center for Healthy Minds. And if you're interested in finding out more about us, you can check out tryhealthyminds.org. Essentially, what we do is we translate the scientific insights that come out of the Center for Healthy Minds into tools to help people both cultivate as well as measure well-being. And each week we've been coming together to practice together, practice meditation together, train our mind and skills that are associated with resilience and well-being. And each week we've been focused on a different theme for practice, a theme of a skill that we're working with. And so this week our skill is all about being present. And this is a skill that's associated with awareness. Awareness is one of the dimensions of the Healthy Minds model of well-being. We have 4 different aspects to our well-being model, which are awareness, connection, insight, and purpose. So I'm going to just see if we've got some people here. Great. Wonderful. Looks like we've got some US folks represented in Chicago, New Hampshire. Look forward to hearing from others as you jump on today. So let's talk about what we mean here when we're talking about the skill of being present. Being present is essentially being open to our experience, our inner experience as it's happening in the moment. So being open to what's happening in our thoughts, our emotions, sensations in our body, regardless of whether the experience is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Now, when you think about the reason why many of us come to meditation is we're seeking a particularly pleasant experience. Usually we are drawn to meditation because we're trying to deal with something in our lives, an emotion, perhaps that's painful. And so we come to meditation with the hopes that it's going to be pleasant, that it's going to get rid of something. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes we will have a particularly pleasant experience with meditation, and that is a happy byproduct. It's not the intent. The intent really is to be open to and be present with what is actually happening in the moment, and that's really easier said than done. Oftentimes when we experience difficult situations, difficulties in our mind, in our bodies, pain, disease, afflictive emotions, we have a lot of resistance. It's very uncomfortable and we want it to go away. And what happens in that sort of inner resistance is that it really amplifies the suffering. It really dials up the volume of the pain of our experience. In fact, there's this sort of equation that I've heard before, which is suffering equals pain times resistance. Like resistance just amplifies our pain, it makes it bigger. And what we're doing here is we're allowing ourselves to be with our experience as it is. So be with the pain, be with what's pleasant, be with what's neutral, but without the amplification of all of that suffering that can be caused as a result of the resistance of the difficult situations. And by being present with what's happening in the moment, it opens up space for us to deal with the situation differently from a place of wisdom and compassion. Now, what I want to be clear about here is that this is not about accepting and being okay with and being present with things that are harmful, situations or behaviors that are harmful or unskillful, both within ourselves as well as others. So this is not what this is about. This is about being present with our inner experience as it's happening. So we know when there are things that are not okay in our lives, and then we can respond from a place of wisdom and compassion and set healthy boundaries and act accordingly. Also, what I want to say is that there are situations when we first begin meditating that are extremely challenging to work with in practice. Perhaps if you've had some deep seated trauma, if you have a long held, painful, afflictive emotion like anxiety or depression, something like grief, those really big things that we've been working with in our lives are really challenging to work with on the meditation cushion in our practice. And so as you are practicing and you're trying to be with what's happening in your experience, sometimes there will be those moments where it just feels like it is too much. And you'll know this because you'll get some sort of signal in your body. You might feel overwhelmed. You might feel anxious. You actually might, on the opposite end, get hypo aroused. So you might kind of numb out or dull out. So just really like noticing what's happening in your experience and then choosing a path that does feel workable for you. So if working with being open to what's arising in the moment. If what's arising in the moment is too painful, then you have choices. You can choose to work with something different in your practice. You may just want to redirect your attention to work with something else, or you may want to just take a break altogether. We're going to go through in our practice today, step by step, working with sensations in the body, working with being open and present with thoughts and emotions. And I'm going to, direct you from time to time to just like pay attention to what's going on in your inner experience, because I don't ever want you to feel like you're powering through something that does not feel workable, because that's not exhibiting a lot of self-compassion, and that really isn't what this is about. Okay, so treat yourself gently as we enter into this practice of being open and present with our experience as it's happening in the moment. All right, go ahead and get yourself comfortable, spine straight, body relaxed. You can place your feet on the floor if that feels supportive to you, and you can choose to practice with your eyes open or your eyes closed. And as you're settling in, it can be sometimes helpful to take a couple of slow, deep breaths. Allow yourself to let go of anything that's happening, any busyness from your day to day, and allow yourself to just be grounded and present as we enter our practice. And now bring awareness to things in your environment that might help support you in this sense of being present and aware. You can notice the feeling of your feet being supported by the earth, your seat, your back being supported by your chair. Noticing that feeling of your hands wherever they're located in your lap or on your sides. There's this real sense of being here right now in your body. And then take a moment to reflect on your motivation for coming to practice together today. See if you can tap into an inspiring motivation in which not only are you practicing to benefit your own well-being, but that you're practicing to benefit others as well, setting a more altruistic motivation behind your practice. And so we'll begin this journey of being open and present by working with sensations in the body. So take a moment to just bring your awareness to your body as a whole. Notice how your body's feeling today. See if you can locate places in your body where there may be some sort of slight discomfort, perhaps a little bit of pain, maybe even just a feeling of something being not quite right. And see if you can be with that, bringing awareness to sensation or sensations and allowing them to be just as they are. Notice the sensations associated with that discomfort. You can see if they move or change, perhaps changing in intensity, simply observing those sensations. You can even notice your mind's relationship to these uncomfortable sensations. Perhaps there's this subtle noticing of wanting the pain to go away, remembering that that's our innate compassion. See if you can just simply be with the discomfort as it's happening. And if this does not feel workable for you, see if you can locate a place in your body where the sensation feels more neutral. So, neutral means that it's neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Maybe it's the soles of your feet or the palms of your hands. And here we're bringing awareness to a sensation that often goes unrecognized. Those neutral sensations normally fly under the radar of our awareness. We just don't see them. So see if you can see what we normally don't notice, those neutral sensations in the body. And you may notice that you're only able to stay present with the sensations for a few moments before you get lost. And so when you notice that you're disconnected, you're no longer knowing those sensations in your body, gently bring your awareness back to simply noticing any sensation in the body, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Simply allowing what is happening to be okay without resistance. All right, let's give our minds an opportunity to rest and simply let go of the technique and allow the mind to rest for a moment in open awareness. The sense of being present and aware, but not focused on anything in particular. Okay. I want to stop just for a moment and invite you, if you want to share anything about your experience with being present and being open to sensations in the body, whether it's unpleasant, neutral, even noticing maybe that gravitational pull, that like kind of wanting to lean into what's pleasant. Here, we're actually just observing all sensations as they are. So, want to just invite any reflections if you feel so inspired. So, paying attention to what feels workable for you, we're now going to move into working with our thoughts and emotions. And so, seeing if we can be with whatever is happening in our inner landscape as it results to thoughts and emotions. All right, so taking again your seat, regrounding yourself just in this sense of being present in the body. Once again, closing your eyes. That feels good for you. See if you can notice what emotions might be present for you today. Anything is welcome. Joy, boredom, anger, anxiety. Simply tuning inward and seeing what might be here for you. If it helps to put a label on it, you could simply make a mental note of that emotion. And see, as you're noticing this emotion, if there are any thoughts that are present. Thoughts may come in the form of words, a story perhaps about the emotion. Perhaps there are images present in your mind. And so here, simply observing and being with any thoughts that arise as a part of this emotion. And as you're looking for thoughts, you may find that there are none, and that's okay. If there are no thoughts, you can tune into sensations in the body that are linked to the emotion. See if you can allow whatever is happening in your inner experience to be okay, to be known, and to just observe. And in those moments where there may not be anything really to work with, it's okay. You can just rest the mind and open awareness, tuning back in as thoughts and sensations associated with your emotion resurface during your practice. And remembering those moments of distraction are normal. Gently bringing your attention back to being present and open with your thoughts and emotions each time that happens. As a part of this practice, you can even notice if you're getting caught up in a certain story in your mind, a thought loop with the emotion, and noticing where you might get caught. Not try to fix or change it, simply observe. And when things feel unworkable to you, you can always just take a break from your practice. Always remember that. All right, once again, let's take a moment to just let go of the observation of the emotion and allow the mind to rest for a moment. And then you can gently open your eyes. And I'd love to take a moment to hear from you what you noticed from working with the emotion. Did you notice any resistance to sensations, thoughts, or perhaps there was some sort of attachment to something more pleasant? And as you're doing that, I just want to take a moment to read your comments from working with the body. So it looks like someone had said, noticed a pleasure in starting with sensations that were difficult. Noticed, someone else says, noticing a difference in judgment about two areas of pain, accepting. Oh, interesting. So one was a result of fitness training, and the other one is a spot of tension, and noticing the difference between those two. Resistance to pain in the body. Yes, yes. And feel more comfortable to stay neutral. Okay, great. Yeah, this is just such an interesting exploration. I'm hoping, I haven't seen any comments pop in about working with the emotion or the thoughts and just being open with that, but would love to hear from you as we're doing this, if anything popped up for you during your practice. So, this practice of being present is really key to being able to work in these situations in our lives where we may find that we're like really grasping towards something pleasant, really resisting something that's unpleasant, and then basically tuned out to those experiences that are neutral. So we're just allowing whatever is happening in our experience to just be okay without feeling like we need to change or manipulate or fix it. And when we're in that moment of just being able to observe our inner experience, we have space to be able to respond. And oftentimes, what happens when we're caught up, especially in those challenging situations or those challenging relationships with our body and our emotions, is that we kind of become identified with it. And there's no space in our experience to respond from what's important to us, to respond from a place of, care and compassion. So here we're just opening up space to have a different relationship with that experience. Okay, so someone just mentioned feeling a need for attachment to structure in life. Thank you so much for sharing that, David. All right, so let's just take a moment to reground ourselves. I just wanted to hear from you. So we'll take one more minute just to bring awareness back to the body. And let's just really cultivate the wish that whatever benefits we gained from this practice today, may the practice not only benefit our own well being, but may it have a positive impact that ripples forth around us into our relationships, both with people that we know and people that we don't know. So let's just take a moment to close our practice by cultivating this really important wish. All right. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I see a couple of other comments here that I just want to mention. Had a sense of sadness and trouble identifying what it was about besides the state of racial injustice in our world today. Thank you so much for sharing that. I've been feeling so much of that in my own heart and the lack of understanding among different groups. Thank you, Alice, for sharing that really important thought. And then Lori mentioned feeling judged a feeling or a thought and suffered a great deal as a result. Um, Thanks for the reminder to be present with whatever is happening with wisdom and compassion. What a difference. Yeah. So I just encourage you as you go forth into your day, into your week, see if you can just be present with what's happening in a way that feels workable for you. Noticing the resistance, noticing those things that go unseen, those more neutral experiences, even noticing the attachment and wanting to have always having pleasant experiences, and just see if you can just be with and see if being with you can notice this wisdom, this compassion arising in our experience. So thank you so much. May you be happy and safe. And I look forward to seeing you again in a future practice. So don't forget, there's another practice happening this Thursday. I believe Jay is leading us this Thursday in another meditation